Well, if you just joined us, you're welcome. You're watching News 9. President Bola Tinubu says his administration is prioritizing people-focused development by providing essential infrastructure and amenities that will improve the quality of life of citizens. The president spoke at the inauguration of engineering infrastructure in Guzape district of the FCT, Abuja. Tinubu, who commended the contractor handling the project, Gilmore Engineering Limited, said his commitment to providing infrastructure across the country is not for personal enrichment. Minister of FCT, Nyesom Wike, explained that the contract initially awarded in 2003 at the cost of 14 billion naira was divided into lots 1 and 2 to Messrs. Dantata and Sawa Construction Company Nigeria Limited and Messrs. Gilmore Engineering Limited. Wike disclosed that the development of the district, which covers 32 kilometers of road, had been fraught with litigation. He said shortly before the present administration assumed office, the cost of the project was revised to 18.17 billion naira.
This significant achievement marks yet another milestone in our administration's total commitment to enhancing the infrastructure and living standard within the Federal Capital Territory and across our great country. Part of our national time is extremely reflected. It's about service. So many of you, you've demonstrated that a great commitment to serve the people. One year ago, we embarked on the journey to retune, re-engineer, refinance, and release the hope for all Nigerians, and particularly for Abuja Federal Capital Territory.
The cost of doggedness to make sure that projects must not be abandoned. Government is a continuum. You have to make sure that these projects are completed and with their financial arrangement. That's what we have succeeded because you gave us that room. I have told people who care to hear, since I assumed office in August 21st, 2023, you have never one day interfered in our work. Never one day have you called me that this is what you want, this is not what you have. Never one day. And sometimes I pretend I will come to you. I say, are there people complaining? You will tell me, have I ever called you one day? So nobody has said, go and do your job. I must say, I sincerely, and my Minister of State was sincerely happy that he gave us the free hand to work. And it is that we are seeing today.
Some backstory there from the FCT Minister. To other news, the National Working Committee of the Labour Party, led by its chairman, Julius Abure, has appealed to party members to learn from their history and trajectory and avoid past mistakes. Abure remarked at the inauguration of the Directorate of Mobilization and Integration in Abuja, which attempts to address the gap between the party and the obedient movement. Abure regretted that if the party structure were more robust in 2023 during the general election, it would have probably been able to defend many of its stolen votes. The LP chairman said the fire brigade approach adopted by the party in the 2023 general election can be avoided if the party starts planning for the 2027 election now.
There was a communication gap between the party and the obedient family. These gaps have given room for misinformation about the party and its leadership. The lack of information dissemination has given room for the ruling oligarchy in Nigeria to infiltrate the movement and is therefore used to negatively work against the leadership of the party. Consequent upon the following, therefore, and the need to find solutions to these challenges and complaints, hence we decided to have a directorate manned by Labour Party obedience. The party, however, is not unmindful of the presence of a large spectrum of followership in which a lot or some members.
Well, we apologize for that glitching that audio there. Well, is the Labour Party facing another crisis within again? Well, it's not a rhetorical question. It's a question that needs an answer. And how is the Abure-led NWC reconciling the obedience movement on the party? I have with me in the studio Kennedy Ahanotu, who is the national youth leader of the party. Good to see you and thanks for your time.
Good to see you. Good
Your
evening.
party is starting in earnest. But again, let's first go back. There's been this talk about obedient movement. Peter Obi, to the extent that a lot of people were confused as to whether the party leader, that's Peter Obi, is still very much within the LP. Now that you're here, I think it's a better place to start so that you tell us what exactly this is about. Is Peter Obi still a member of the LP?
Thank you so much for having me this evening. Categorically, capital, yes. Peter Obi is still a member of Labour Party. Of course, a few days ago, he tweeted made a personal tweet where he stated it categorically that he's still a loyal member of Labour Party. So there is no argument about his membership of the party today.
So now the obedient movement and the Labour Party and the push for the 2027 election, there seemed to be some kind of confusion where, especially when he said, well, the obedient is not a part of the party, is more like not an appendage, it's a standalone. So how does those, anyone who is a member of the obedient movement see that statement, more so now that you're already working towards the big election in 2027?
About the obedient movement and what His Excellency Mr. Peter Obi said, I think he's correct. If you look at the build-up to 2023 general election, if you remember, one governor from the South did mention that even in his house, that he has some people shouting Obi, 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 Obi. One thing about the 2023 general election is that it's not just about political party. Nigerians were really tired of the ruling oligarchy and they needed to change the system. They needed to see a new president. And for me, they believe that our presidential candidate, Peter Obi, is someone that is in the picture of what they expected in 2023. And there are many people that truly, that we are not members of the Labour Party, but supported and voted for His Excellency Mr. Peter Obi. If you look at the membership of political parties that we have in Nigeria, you translate it to the votes that we have during voting, you see that it's not actually only members of political party that gives victory to whoever emerges as a winner in any election. So give it to him. The obedient movement are made up of people in APC, people in PDP, people in other political parties who believe that truly that somebody in the character of Mr. Peter Obi should come on board. So, but the party being a greatest beneficiary in that movement, recently there are agitations of inclusivity, agitation of carrying along or not carrying along, agitation of communication and not communicating properly. The party, in his wisdom, thinks that creating a directorate, giving obedient an identity in the party would have been something that we appreciated, knowing fully well that many of them are not members of the Labour Party. Of course, everybody would have wanted to associate himself with the obedient movement, because after the election, you now see in some by-elections that we had, people now see how they can
crop out some members of the obedient to support them, and you see people going to say, I am obedient this, I support this political party, you know. So after all these things, the party also want to take ownership of the obedient movement. And if you look at everywhere in the world, like South Africa, we had an ANC started as a movement. You know, when it started as a movement, they were doing very well, but they couldn't achieve much until they became a registered political movement, political party in South Africa. And look at the wonders that they achieved. So Labour Party felt that we can capitalize on the achievements done by this group of individuals. I am also an obedient. There is no member of Labour Party that is not obedient. Majority of Nigerian youths will tell you that they are obedient. So I am obedient, and I'm a member of Labour Party. So we have that thought that making the obedient domiciled in Labour Party will add to the value, will add to the structure, will add to the quality, will add to the content of what Labour Party will come out with in preparation to 2027 general election. Because there are a lot of mistakes which we have observed when we did a post-mortem, internal post-mortem of the 2023 general election. And we saw that many people were doing the same thing. You know, they were instead of doing a particular thing at a time, you see 10 groups doing the same thing. So sometimes we put our energy in one thing without putting energy in some other thing. So we felt that starting early enough to galvanize this structure. And again, sir.
To galvanize. So starting early enough to galvanize, you can only galvanize where you have people together, but it doesn't look like the LP as it stands. Is together.
No.
Abure has spoken. I'll let you come in on this. Mr. Abure has spoken, and we've been seeing the back and forth with the LP. Today, Mr. Abure is on suspension. No, he's not on suspension. You have an issue to grind with some people in Edo State, and there's an election coming in Edo State. And now you have this explanation which you just cleared the air on and obedient movement. How does this work for a party that is enmeshed in a lot of controversies, as it says it's going to set out early enough for the next big election?
My good brother, to be honest with you, if I tell you that the little crisis that is happening in the Labour Party is not expected, I may be deceiving you. Because there is no way you will go through the route that Labour Party went through. Labour Party shook the foundations of this country. Labour Party, you know, dismounted the structures of this ruling oligarchy. Labour Party touched them where the thing is paining them. You saw how everything happened. They said, how can 4 persons tweeting from a room? And eventually, 4 persons tweeting in a room were able to deliver the one they declared, over 6 million votes. So you saw that even the establishments will not be comfortable with these people, because they want to remain there. And they know that if they let Labour Party organize, if they let Labour Party galvanize...
So you think there's an external hand?
Definitely, I have that belief that no smoke without fire. It's established a fact that there is no smoke without fire. Anywhere you see a smoke, there must be fire somewhere.
So Kennedy, let's round off on this. The Labour Party in the next election, the future of the Labour Party, what do we hope to see? Are we likely to get to see a repeat of what happened, or even a poor performance, going by what you're experiencing at the moment?
Well, what we're experiencing at the moment cannot stop us from achieving greater success in 2027. In fact, what is happening in Labour Party, as far as I'm concerned, is little compared to the rot going in other political parties, honestly. And I know that by 2027, we'll be able to field candidates in all the political positions, because it affected us in the last election. So we will be able to field candidates. That's why we are starting early enough to plan for that election, because I know that 2027, the people of Nigeria will take back their country to the Labour Party. So I'm very confident. And what is happening in the party is something that, as a family, you know, we can always, of course, we are sitting down. Our leader has been galvanizing, building confidence, and making people come together to see that we have only one enemy, to fight those that have held Nigeria down for years. Because all we are asking for is a better leadership, better governance. You know, when you travel around the world, you see that what Nigerians are looking for, just like you had somebody about the minimum wage, and that a reasonable government is not supposed to wait for workers to protest before they improve on the workers' welfare. So Labour Party is prepared for 2027, and I'm sure that will take power by 2027.
Kennedy Ahanotu, many thanks for coming on Newsnight.
Thank you very much, sir.